27 BC, Octavian was honored as Augustus by the Senate, officially founding the Roman Empire, and the entire Mediterranean Sea became Rome's inland lake. Roman merchant ships loaded with wine, olive oil and glassware sailed eastward with monsoon winds. Meanwhile, the Western Han dynasty under Emperor Xian flourished with a policy of light corvée and tax reduction. The protectorate of the western regions firmly controlled key routes of the Silk Road. Caravans of Han merchants carrying cloud-patterned brocade and ironware trekked westward, the tinkling of camel bells stretching all the way from Wayang Palace to the oasis of Samarkand in Central Asia. By the campfire at a roadside station, a Roman merchant and a Han merchant chanced to meet, each speaking proudly of the prosperous empires they came from. The Roman merchant pointed far to the west, full of pride. "Our deputy Agrippa is building the original Pantheon in Rome, a temple dedicated to all Olympian gods. Quarries in Egypt supply massive monolithic granite columns 20 meters tall to support the porch. This early temple has a square layout without the gigantic dome that will awe later generations. It will burn down 100 years later, and Emperor Hadrian will rebuild it on the original site, creating a 43.3-meter concrete dome unrivaled across the classical world. A massive circular oculus opens at the dome's center, casting vertical shafts of sunlight inside. When it rains, water pours through the opening and flows away through hidden circular underground channels carved into the floor, leaving not a single puddle. To the Romans, this opening acts as a passage connecting mortal earth to the realm of the gods. The Dome of Hadrian's rebuilt Pantheon stands as the pinnacle of classical architecture. Ancient builders used a layered lightweight concrete pouring technique. The lower sections are dense, heavy concrete mixed with hard volcanic rock for load-bearing support, while lighter aggregate is used higher up, with pumice stones blended into the topmost layer to drastically reduce weight. The entire dome stands self-supporting without any steel framing, forged from a single mass of concrete, and has endured for 2,000 years without collapse. Its internal span of 43.3 meters remained unsurpassed for 1,800 years. The central oculus serves far more than just lighting. It embodies Rome's cosmology, the single opening to the heavens linking humanity to the divine. The temple floor slopes gently toward its center, channeling all rainwater into underground cisterns. Its integrated design balancing load-bearing, drainage, and light optics still astonishes modern architects with the extraordinary mathematical and engineering mastery of ancient craftsmen. The Han merchant unrolled a bolt of silk woven with swirling patterns of the Milky Way, the thread shimmering brightly in the firelight. Our imperial astronomer Luo Xiaohong spent 6 years observing the stars and conducting calculations during Emperor Wu's reign, creating the Taichu calendar that would be used for 2,000 years. He handcrafted 2 astronomical instruments, the armillary sphere for measuring celestial movement, and the celestial globe, a spherical model etched with all constellations. Rotating the globe allows one to directly predict solar and lunar eclipses. This calendar was the first official almanac to fully incorporate the 24 solar terms, establishing the first lunar month as the start of each year. Farmers follow its guidance, sow seeds at clear brightness, harvest grain at autumn equinox. Harvests are bountiful year after year under this system. Now, during the prosperous reign of Emperor Xian, this calendar remains in use across the realm. Granaries overflow with grain, and the Chanyu of the Xiongnu voluntarily travels to Chang'an to submit tribute and swear allegiance. The Taichu calendar precisely calculated the tropical year as 365.2502 days and the lunar month as 29.5308 days, far more accurate than the concurrent Julian calendar of Rome. Luo Xiaohong pioneered the rule of intercalary months without central solar terms, perfectly reconciling lunar moon cycles with solar seasonal cycles and solving the 1,000-year problem of misaligned astronomical observations and farming schedules plaguing ancient calendars. Under Emperor Xian, the whole empire adopted this calendar. An official celestial observation platform, the Lingtai, maintained constant star monitoring, with scribes recording every celestial event year after year, forming an unbroken, independent Eastern astronomical system unique to China. The armillary sphere accurately tracked the orbits of the Sun, Moon and 5 major planets, while the celestial globe simulated the full rotation of the sky. This suite of astronomical instruments outmatched Western observational equipment of the same era by hundreds of years. Across the ocean, in the rainforests of the Americas, Maya classical civilization was steadily developing. The ancient city of Chichen Itza only held primitive earthen altar foundations at this time, where worship of the feathered serpent deity took root. The iconic Kukulkan pyramid familiar to modern people would not be completed until 1,000 years later during the Toltec Maya fusion period, standing as the crowning achievement of late Maya civilization and one of the new 7 wonders of the world. This later-built pyramid stands 24 meters tall, split into 9 terraced levels representing the 9 layers of the Maya underworld myth. Each of its 4 sides has 91 stone steps, summing to 364 steps total. Together with the platform of the top shrine, the full count reaches exactly 365, matching the 365 days of the Maya solar calendar. Constructed entirely without iron tools or wheeled transport, workers cut stone only with obsidian chisels and hauled massive rock blocks by human labor alone. The height and width of every stone step hold a manufacturing error of less than 1 centimeter, demonstrating an extreme standard of precision. The pyramid features a nested matryoshka structure. The outer giant pyramid encloses 2 older, smaller sacred temples built in earlier eras. Archaeological excavations inside have unearthed stone carvings of the feathered serpent, jade sacrificial ritual vessels and shell ceremonial artifacts. Its most breathtaking astronomical spectacle occurs at the spring and autumn equinoxes, as the sun sets. Layered shadows along the staircases interlock to project the silhouette of a giant slithering serpent that creeps slowly down the north staircase, as if the feathered serpent descends from the celestial realm. Ancient Maya astronomers relied solely on naked-eye stargazing to calculate the exact angle of the sun relative to the pyramid's architectural incline, merging astronomy, geometry and construction without complex written mathematical notation. This celestial architectural cipher hidden for millennia still holds countless unsolved mysteries. Looking to other civilizations across the globe. Along the Mediterranean coast, Egypt had become Rome's granary province. The Library of Alexandria continued collecting papyrus manuscripts from Eurasia and Africa, while all golden ritual vessels and pharaoh death masks left by the Ptolemaic dynasty were shipped back to Rome's capital for collection. On the Indian subcontinent, the Kushan Empire rose to power. 100 years later, Emperor Kanishka would host the Fourth Buddhist Council, gathering 500 monks to compile and collate the Tripitaka scriptures, engraving sacred texts onto copper scrolls. Monks traveled eastward along the Silk Road carrying these scriptures, laying the groundwork for the future construction of the White Horse Temple in Luoyang. The Han Dynasty reached the peak of Zhaoxian rejuvenation. The Protectorate of the Western regions administered 36 oasis kingdoms, sustaining year-round unbroken trade along the Silk Road. Chinese silk and iron smelting technology traveled steadily westward, profoundly shaping civilizations of Central Asia and Rome alike. The Maya civilization of the Americas evolved in complete isolation from Eurasia. Generations of Maya people studied the stars and built calendar shrines using only stone tools, creating a fully independent cultural system entirely distinct from those of the Old World. By the campfire, the Roman merchant stroked his clay jar filled with rich olive oil, while the Han merchant brushed his fingers over the luminous cloud-patterned silk bolt. Separated by a language barrier, they could only vaguely sense the grandeur of each other's empires. Neither of them could ever imagine that deep within rainforests on the opposite side of the globe, a people without iron or wheels would one day build a stone pyramid carved to mark every single day of the solar year, guided only by their observation of the night sky. If the two merchants could speak each other's language and learn that 3 separate civilizations had each reached unparalleled heights of achievement, the Romans mastering engineering to cast a concrete dome that would endure millennia, the Han Chinese perfecting astronomical calendars still used 2,000 years later, and the Maya reading the stars to build a sacred temple harmonized with celestial cycles, would they be stunned to realize that ancient peoples scattered across disconnected continents, with no contact between one another, each exhausted their ingenuity to unlock the deepest secrets of architecture and the cosmos?